Bingo. Next me.
Good evening, Sally.
Hi, Daniel. I'm gonna go get my ear things.
They're gonna lower my volume too.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
What are you doing in my office, Jerry?
Nobody knows it's your office. They still think it's my office. If they're not using it, I'm gonna use it. Let me go to DPW instead. There we go.
Yes, sir.
Because if it's charged, then it should turn on. Maybe it's just like a faulty wire. Well, I don't know. The glare. I was like, the light is on, but it's the glare. The optimistic. How old is that?
Turn on.
Yeah, 4 years old. I mean, it's not, I just never use it. You know,
You have power to?
Yeah, and it's also had charged it. I was using it today. I only use it for village board meetings.
Oh, there it is.
The building and fire code administration thing.
Mm. Did you shut it down?
Are you ready? LMC, ready? More of our members, but you'll have to be tardy. We need a motion to open the work session
So moved.
for for April 10th, 2023. Lou made the motion. Second over here. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Okay. Gonna go out of order tonight, since we have a lot of, our colleagues and friends from the library board here. So we're gonna go into new business, 3A. Presentation by the library board. Is someone ready to make a presentation? Okay. Ellen, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Ellen Freeman, and I'm currently president of the board of the Mamaroneck Library. I've been a village resident for 17 years and a resident of the town of Mamaroneck for 26. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time today to discuss the issues at the library. We're a civic-minded board. We all volunteer, just like you, because we believe the library is central to the Mamaroneck community. Both the board and the staff have worked hard to implement a 5-year plan for the library. And to that end, we have greatly expanded our outreach to the community, tripled our programming, and have been a tech resource center. So important to the residents without computers and Wi-Fi available in their homes. We were open during the pandemic. As a matter of fact, we were the first library to open in Westchester County. And of course, we were essential during Hurricane Ida. At the end of January, we felt their entire community was betrayed. Our finances were built on false information received from our business manager, who worked at the library for 27 years, a lifelong Mamaroneck resident. Even her mother was a former trustee on the library board. Our audited statements and actual fund balances did not match the numbers the board received each month. Checks for payments of services we thought were cash were stashed in a drawer. The board built our next year's budget on bad information. We were told we had a lot more money in our accounts than we actually did. Therefore, we are asking the village to help secure a short-term loan so we don't run out of money for expenditures before June 1st and before we receive our next check from the village. First, I'd like to go over the events of the last 4 months. Our January financials were sent to the board by the business official in February. There were large discrepancies between December's financials and January's financials. Jennifer O'Neill and our treasurer immediately discussed and tried to get an explanation from our business manager. We didn't get a satisfactory response or any real answer at all. Jennifer called the library's auditors and asked them to look into the situation. Our treasurer called an emergency meeting of the board. The board met and the library consulted with legal counsel. The business manager was immediately put on administratively paid leave pending this investigation. Her computer was seized and credit cards were canceled to TD Bank. The library hired an independent forensic accounting firm. The board received preliminary information from the forensic accounting firm showing misappropriation of funds and many number of questionable expenditures. The next day, March 21st, the library notified and went over and talked to the police. The very same day after that, we went to notify the village and we demanded and received a signed resignation from the business manager. The investigation with the accounting firm continues and the library continues to cooperate with authorities. The county attorneys are conducting an investigation. Roughly 90% of the library's budget is for the bond to the village for a building, in addition to staff salaries and benefits. We have cut from the remaining 10% as much as we can. However, we are contractually obligated to pay vendors and program providers with whom we have already signed contracts. As you recall, we are in the midst of celebrating our centennial, which makes this situation even more painful to all of us. We have created an austerity budget, cutting expenditures. We've canceled plans for our upcoming renovation. We stopped working with our architectural firm. We have a hiring freeze, no longer replacing 2 librarians, 1 part-time clerk, and 1 part-time adult librarian. We've closed our teen room. We've stopped buying books. We will be not renewing the majority of our magazines. Rocky Smith, our forensic auditors, will help us create and implement a robust protocols to make sure this doesn't happen again. The director, our director, now has access to bank accounts and will continue to sign checks with a board member. Our auditor will create a monthly board packet template to notify the board of cash balances, budget to actual expenditures, and a balance sheet. They will review bank reconciliations, journal entries, payroll every month going forward for the next year to ensure proper procedures. They will be available for questions and clarifications on recording transactions properly to have accurate reporting of expenditures and revenue. Separation of duties and mitigating controls implemented for check processing, payroll, and credit card purchases. They will consult with staff for the year ending filings, closing books, and audit preparation. We do have insurance, and the staff is very busy starting today, filling out many forms for reimbursement of funds improperly taken by the business manager. We also will need that for our legal fees and our auditor fees. We don't know how long this process will take, and we don't know how much we will be awarded. And we will, in addition to that, we will also pursue a civil suit to reclaim funds. What is our ask? The library needs $300,000 before June 1st, 2023. The library will need another $850,000 by September 1st, 2023. The library will need another $261,000 by January 1st, 2024. The total ask is $1,412,000. This total will include $40,000 for the Con Ed bill that we have to pay for the Emlyn, and the $794,225 that we owe the village for our bond payment. Both the library and the Emlyn will need these funds to continue providing services to our community. We greatly appreciate your sympathetic consideration of this request, and I would be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Palmer. I'd like to say I'm sorry that we're all here in this predicament. I know it's not easy for anybody. The yearly audits, I think you have the same auditing firm, O'Connor Davies.
Yes.
Did the board see those audits?
The board ever see those?
Yeah.
Yes. Did we see it this year? We did not see that. We did not look at the audit this year.
Did the audit this year? I guess that was withheld by the business manager. Did the audit this year?
Yes, it was withheld from by the business.
And did that warn of this coming tsunami?
It warned of the coming tsunami, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna ask, before we have questions from the Board of Trustees, I want to ask Mr. Sposino, because I know I initially contacted the controller's office and they got back to us, and then their legal got back to Bob. And Bob, can you tell us where we are first with the controller's office, and second with your kind of independent research on what is in the realm of possibility here?
So I have spoken with the controller's office twice, counsel in the controller's office twice. They have offered to be somewhat helpful in the sense of discussing this with us, but they're not offering any legal advice. They're not offering any practical advice as to how to solve this problem, nor will they agree to sign off on any potential solution. I have advised them as to what I've learned. I'm not frankly paying any attention to the library before a month or so ago, almost 2 weeks ago. But we did find the statute by which the library district was created. They looked at that.
Just to, so for the people who are listening and might not know, there was a law passed by the New York State legislature
That's correct.
that enabled the creation of the library district.
That's correct.
And then that law was ratified by the voters of the Village of Mamaroneck, Okay.
1991.
1991.
As far as the solution to the problem, I don't know what solution the library board or its council or financial advisors have come up with. I'm not aware of any authority by which the village can simply lend money to the library, if that's what they're looking for, but I don't know exactly what they're looking for.
Is
Kind of
there,
steady. It was-
is there another mechanism that we can borrow money in lieu of the library?
The statute allows them to issue a tax anticipation note
Allows us to,
on their behalf. That would have to be paid back in a year. As far as I know, I'm not a municipal finance lawyer. But the concern with that is that their budget has to be approved by the voters, and if the budget weren't approved by the voters, the village would be holding the bag for that loan.
Augie?
Yes, Mayor.
Tax anticipation note is called a TAN, just so I'm going to refer to it as a TAN from now on.
Yes, ma'am.
If a TAN were passed in 1 year, could it be reissued the next year to kind of like, in essence, extend the loan?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you just- could
So
you,
you could issue a TAN for, let's say, first year, 200,000. The second year, the ask is 800,000, so now we'll be issuing another tax anticipation note for $1 million. To cover that, the interest would be half the budget is separately. So beyond the 10, you also have to pay interest and 10 issuance costs. And then the third year, you could issue a tax anticipation note for 1.5 million to cover the first 2 years.
so Bob, we couldn't just, we can't just lend money without doing. Could you explain that a little?
That's correct. The village can't lend money. What the village can do, is because of this special statutory relationship between the library district and the village can issue the tax anticipation notes on behalf of the library. But my understanding is that the library is liable, and the village is ultimately liable for those notes.
The board,
So at the end of the day, if they can, hopefully they can, if they can't pay it, then it's where the village has to pay for it. That's the,
That's right. Now, there may be other mechanisms they've explored that I'm not aware of. Maybe they have a different solution. I don't know.
those are the orders?
No.
No,
I have a question.
sorry, it's just in order.
But the village can't, the library can't borrow money, which is why when the bond was taken out, the village had to take it out.
Correct.
And the money, and the assumption is that the budget's gonna get passed and the money passes through from the village who collects it to the library, who then pays the bond.
The village issues, the village that levies the money based on the library, levies the taxes
Mhm.
based on the library's budget. And when the village collects the tax money, it pays it over to the library.
It's what it passed for.
Mayor?
Yes, that's village manager zooming in.
So what happens, Bob, do you know what happens if the library budget doesn't pass? Who ends up making the decision? I know how it works for municipalities. I don't know how it works for library entities or authorities.
The answer is I don't know in terms of, if we're thinking of an austerity budget or something like that.
Yeah,
School districts
like a school
have-
district, if the budget
I don't
doesn't.
believe there's a statute like that for library districts.
We're kind of in uncharted waters.
And I don't know. honestly don't know what happens. The village would have to pay the bonds because the village is the issuer
Mhm.
of the bonds.
Mhm.
I don't know. And as I said, maybe there's some other solution that the library has come up with or can't come up.
Dan, any idea?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if the library's budget, if they went out to a referendum and the budget didn't pass,
Yeah,
they would just have whatever the existing approved levy is. So I think they need to go out to get any increase in the levy approved, which is the same thing with school districts. But if it doesn't get approved, their existing levy is what I believe they would have to rely on.
so they can keep it flat and still charge, and that would be the tax rate.
Okay, but that might be correct, but Mr. Spolzino was saying he hasn't seen a written authority on that. But I mean, it can't be every year if the voters would have turned down. I mean, it's never happened. The library budget usually passes. Yeah, always passes
Always tax it.
by a large margin.
Yeah.
But it can't be that if the library budget were to fail, the library closes, right? So that. Yeah,
If the library budget, if the library budget doesn't pass, it reverts back to what it was the year before.
okay, that's what Dan was just saying.
Okay,
Okay,
okay, well, that would be fine.
all right, so Ellen, would you mind getting back up, please? The folks that, I'm sorry. I just want to get the math down here.
Okay.
So you said
300,000 before June 1st.
300,000.
Mhm.
Before June first. And is it, so I guess if you don't get the money, what happens on June first?
We can't pay our employees.
And that means close the doors?
Pretty much. I think.
So this is whether or not the library can remain open.
Okay, the second number,
800.
Okay, so 850 by September 1st.
850.
Yes,
Mhm.
because we have to pay. See, in August, we get the money, tax money to pay for, our budget.
Right.
In September, what happens is we pay $794,225 back to you for our debt service.
For the bond.
Yeah.
Okay? And in addition to that, we're paying $50,000 for the Emblem Theater for their Con Ed bill. So that's where this is
Okay,
coming, right?
and what's the third one?
And the third one would be in the next year. January 1st would be 261,200.
And
That
you,
lasts till June. And
And
in
you-
June, what happens in December is that we create a new budget and go out to vote in December for our budget, starting in June 2024.
so that budget built upon a solid foundation without considering the tax anticipation notes. Let's just take that out of the equation for a minute. To make that budget fiscally sound, that budget would have to be by at least $900,000, I'm figuring.
I'm not,
Somebody? Okay.
Mhm.
And it's interest. More, because you have interest.
Mhm.
Much more. If we have to pay back the 1-year note.
No, I'm saying, let's take the 1-year note out of it. Okay. So if you would, if this, for some reason, let's just say an angel dropped 1.2 million on your lap, and next year you were gonna have to do a new budget, how much would the tax levy have to increase?
10%.
I can't be right.
That's because it's an additional $1 million on top of the money that we borrowed. 10%.
Mhm.
No,
You forget
It's a $3 million budget.
If we didn't. If we didn't have this new note to pay back.
I have an easy way of asking this. Maybe I've been a little unclear.
What is our carry forward budget for the following?
Yeah, what did you budget into this year's budget? That was based upon, false assumptions of surplus.
For the past 5 years, we did not raise the tax increase. We raised 0% and 1% and 2%. We kept everything because we felt during the pandemic, we didn't raise a thing. This year, we knew that we had to raise approximately 12% because we hadn't raised in the past. And what we wanted to do is we thought we had a fund balance that we could take because we didn't want to
Right.
raise more than 6.5%. We decided that we were going to instead take money out of our fund balance. That's where we got in trouble.
Right, I'm trying to figure out what that number.
That's where the trouble came in. Because we thought we had this money and we didn't want to raise the taxes
No.
because we didn't think it was fair.
No, and I do, and I
So
understand.
now what happened is we didn't have that money that we thought we had. And that is where the problem is coming in terms of paying that next year.
Exactly, and that is the number that, I guess, without the 10, that is the number that the taxes will have to be increased next year.
I think that's 880,000, I thought it was, when we read the report.
Because it's two separate fiscal years. They need 300,000 before June 1, because their fiscal year corresponds with ours.
Mhm.
So I mean, the tax is already collected for this year.
Oh, okay, that's where okay, so your fiscal year starts in June 1st. Okay, I
Yeah.
was thinking because your budget passed in December, you were January to January.
It's
No,
Okay, now I see what you're saying. Hey, board,
Mm.
your questions?
I mean, I think we have to know what we can really do
Yeah.
realistically. I mean, I don't think anybody on this board, don't want to speak for anybody else, but I think we're all library fans
Mhm.
and we all think the library is important to our community. So it's just a matter of,
How we can help?
yeah,
Yeah.
not will we help, but
That's how.
how can we help?
If we could help. How much money is missing? Do you know? Is there any money missing, or is it just money that you thought you had that you never had to begin with?
Well, that's what the auditors are trying to find out. Why is it that we thought we had a fund balance that was incredibly large and all of a sudden we don't? But we also know that there was money that was taken. So, and that's in the tens of thousands of dollars. It's not going to cover this
Right.
at all,
Mm.
but it is going to be retrievable money that we can use actually to pay, our debt back. But, my issue is that, yes, eventually we will get money back. It's not going to cover this completely for this year, and we don't know when.
Could be
We don't
years.
know when we're going to get it, so we have to assume that we're not going to get it right now. And we have to plan as if we're not getting it at the moment.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be,
Before you go through all the litigation and worry about how we're gonna do it. We will get some money back, that's true.
Yeah.
But the issue is that we thought we had a fund balance much larger than we did.
What is the library, I'm sorry, what is the library doing? Good evening. To, outside of doing what you've already stated that you're gonna do, or you're gonna try to do, are you gonna hire another, when you can hire like a person, who may be, certified to handle the accounts of the library?
Okay, what we are doing is we have this wonderful forensic auditor who also not only has been auditing our account, but he also is on a board of a library in Illinois. And he is going to be teaching whoever it is that we hire to do this and to create all the protocols that I told you that were going to be in place. To make sure that we have greater checks and balances than we did before. I mean, honestly, none of us want to go through this again. We don't want to go through this in the first place, much
Mhm.
less do that again. And, you know, we're concerned about our community. We care about our community. And this has been a hard hit for all of us.
Yeah, and like in most catastrophes, it affects those at the bottom of the economic rung the most.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have questions? Okay, so we're gonna have to,
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I think we have a lot of meetings in the next week. You know, we have 3 budget meetings and we have a tentatively scheduled meeting for next Monday,
Mhm.
which we might not have to have because of the budget, but I think, you know, if there's a way of expediting this, at least we have meetings scheduled because we have to do this, you know, as a board. So I just want to be mindful of what our schedule is and
You know, I think we have to look at how,
Mhm.
I mean, it's a leap of faith for all of us, right? You know, if we do this, you know, we're putting a lot of faith in all of you. Because, you know, your budget has to pass,
Right.
or it's on us.
Right, and we know that we're gonna have to get out the budget. And I have to say that the response of the community has been overwhelmingly positive in terms of helping us. I mean, the fact that Chipotle is even giving a fundraiser for us, I mean, people have been talking about, but it's not going to. Whatever fundraising we do isn't gonna come up with $1 million. I mean, you know, it's wonderful that the community is coming together to help us, and we greatly appreciate it because nobody wants the library to close, much less the implication for the Emlyn Theater as well, since we pay a lot of their, a lot of the things for the Emlyn Theater. So,
That's a lot of burritos.
yeah, it's a lot of burritos. You know what I mean? Yeah, really. But, you know, I feel as though we inherited a problem that has been going on, when I tell you, for many, many years. It wasn't just this board, it was boards before us. And we were able to, all of a sudden, yes, I wish it would have been sooner, find out that we had this problem, put immediate stop to it. And, you know, I hope you can help us, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're sort of all together in terms of being what we do for the community in Mamaroneck. So I want to thank you all for the consideration, and I hope we can come up with a solution.
You know, I just sitting here, I just want to throw this out to the board. And Augie, if I'm saying something that is not right, feel free to correct me, okay?
I really do, Mayor.
I value Augie, I really do. We could either, well, you know what, if we're gonna do it, I guess it's best to do it in one fell swoop. You know, I was gonna say if we do it in 3 different TANs, but that's probably a more difficult situation. I was thinking a $300,000 TAN, an $850,000 TAN, a $261,000 TAN. But as I'm saying that, it just seems to me that it would just be a more complicated situation for you and to, you know, to do all the paperwork and have all those considerations.
It would be more complicated for the library if I raise 1.4 million. In 1 year, they'd have to give me the money back.
Yeah. I think if we did it in 2 years,
If I do it over 3 years, every subsequent year is gonna be more than the previous year. So to help out a lot more, it's just three different issuance costs.
So we should do it in a $300,000 chunk, $850,000 chunk, and a 261 chunk.
What's the cost?
$300,000 cost. 1.1 million. And then 1.6 million until they finally get it into their budget. Keep in mind, their budget in the subsequent year is gonna have to cover the 880 shortfall plus the issuance of the bond. So I'm thinking they're gonna wanna pay this tax anticipation note over a couple of years. Or they're going to have a 90% increase in the budget.
Correct.
And just for the people who are watching at home. Your library budget. You know, is a very small portion of your tax bill.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's a integral part of the community. You know, full disclosure, I have grandchildren who are taking your classes, so I do have a dog in the fight. I'm sure all of us have been in a situation where our children took the classes there.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know how to, I mean, we would have to have. We obviously can't vote on this tonight because we have to have staff write up the 10, right?
Well,
And but you know, I myself would like to take, you know, a leap of faith here and do what we can to save the library.
Mhm.
don't we have to check with like bond counsel? I mean, isn't,
Augie, have you talked
we've
to
got
bond
to,
counsel?
we've got to get, I mean, I think Bob has to give us the green light
Yes.
before we can do this.
Augie, what does bond counsel say?
Defer to my attorney. He's on the conversation. Was that? What did Jeff say? We could issue it?
Jeff said the village can issue a request of the library. Or the village could issue tax anticipation note.
So I think what the library has to do is send us a formal written request.
Okay.
And, you know, work it and, you know, have your auditors or whoever's guiding you, you know, get you through that. And then we'll put it on the agenda for a work session to talk about it, and then an agenda at the, at a regular meeting to vote on it. You know, I'm sure, you know, you know, you're gonna have I can tell you this from hard experience. You know, you're gonna have a rough couple of years of people are gonna be saying, you know, unkind stuff and uninformed stuff. And just keep your head up and just keep doing the next right thing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. It's you know, it's a tough place. So you're elected officials, and it's a tough place to be an elected official from time to time, but it's also very rewarding.
They're having the rewarding part.
Now,
Let
But
me know- let
you'll
me know
appreciate the
if
good
it's-
days.
it's rewarding.
So please send us a written request.
Okay.
But
Go ahead.
the library closes June 1st if we do nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's, so this is an existential threat.
Additionally, village will default on the bonds. I mean, we are obligated to pay the library's bond. No?
Only if you issue the bond.
No, we're
The
already
bond for the
involved.
building.
It's for the building.
Built on for the building. yeah.
Right, and that's a significant,
Well, yeah,
Well, that's significant for the payment in September.
So we're lending them money so they can pay us.
I think that owe you a lot more than we're asking now. Yeah.
it's like the federal government.
The mayor and board, the only thing I like to bring to your attention, I'm not sure I could get that money by June 1st.
Right.
What do you mean?
This has to be issued. There's a process.
yeah, it's not,
Underwriting, it's
All right, let's everybody move at an expedited pace.
well, that's why I think we should keep our meeting for next Monday.
Keep the meeting.
What?
I think we should keep our
Keep the
meeting for
meeting.
next
Yeah, yeah.
Monday. We've got it
Yeah.
scheduled.
If Augie can get it ready from, you know, let's start tomorrow.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And
What, Mayor, what do we start tomorrow? We need some kind of clear
No.
direction. All the numbers or the way Augie presented them?
I hope you presented them.
Yeah, the way
or
Augie
just the
present,
three?
the way Augie presented it, I think is the best. And what I said, start tomorrow, that was more to the library board, for them to start their process tomorrow of making a
Okay.
formal request to the village board.
Okay,
And maybe that should include like what the anticipated tax, like the library budget request is gonna be, like what to expect in December, so people aren't surprised by it. To the extent that you can figure that out.
And, and since we're being asked essentially to be the bank here, we should have eyes on the internal operation, should we not? I mean, somebody inside the bank to inside the library to tell us that, yeah, they can do what they're saying they can do.
I don't, they're an independent elected board. I don't know, you know.
But then it would just be similar to like having an interested party.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean-
in other words, I'd like to hear from our staff that this is doable, because this isn't our money. It's the taxpayers' money.
No,
But just like our statements, these are public statements. The library board statements are public, so they should be made public and it should be, very transparent.
I think Lou is asking about the formation of their next budget. I think. I don't want to put words in it.
Well, I'm talking about the internal operations of the library itself. I mean,
Right.
can we be confident in that? I don't want to, cast any dispersions, but this is a pretty big miss. Are there operational things there that perhaps they need to consider?
they could, maybe the director could talk to Augie about that. Augie, could you see how we could be helpful? Without owning it.
I need to know what level of helpfulness you want me to implement.
Yeah, see, that's part of the concern too, is, it's not ours to own, right?
Well, yeah, but if it's not ours to own, then it's not ours to act. I mean, I mean, if we act, then we own it.
Well, we've already acted in a sense by passing a bond 15 years ago to build the library.
Right.
So
I mean, I think we have to, what I think an analysis we need to do is if we do nothing, we know the library closes
Yeah.
and we know that the village is still on the hook for whatever amount we are on the hook for our bond, for the bond.
800,000 or something.
And,
12 million.
No, they're just talking about this year.
right, but it's ongoing. It doesn't, if the library closes and they don't have an annual budget and they don't raise funds, then it becomes completely the obligation of the village for a building that's not being used. So we do have, a stake in this
Regardless.
regardless. And, maybe the forensic auditor can work more quickly to help you establish protocols so we know like what the protocols are.
Mayor, may I make a recommendation?
Please.
Okay, so similar to the waterworks, they get reviewed every quarter.
Yeah.
And those reviewed statements are shown to that board. To
Yes.
let them know where they are every quarter. I would recommend the library gets their current auditors to come in, review them every quarter and submit to the library board their statement and how they're operating at this point.
That's in our plans, our forensic accounting.
And if I suggest,
We're gonna do that monthly.
and I suggest that you share that with the community.
Mhm.
At at this point, the more information the community has, there's gonna be, consternation in the beginning. But if people can see everything's out on the table, everything's moving forward, there's a good faith effort to do the right thing. And, that's gonna be, over time, make these hard choices more acceptable.
Which is exactly why we want to hire this forensic auditor. who is separate from our regular auditor.
Mhm.
Certainly, they've gone over every piece of paper, now going back to 2010, and every bank statement. So they're very familiar now with what. And what we imagined was that every month, the forensic auditor would be looking over exactly what that statement is, and we can post that.
Yes,
Mhm.
We post exactly what the financials are.
All right, is the director here?
Yes.
Okay, so, organizationally, if do you have a plan B? Or is it just that you need this money and to operate under what the plan you have? But what happened? I mean, do you have a fallback position? Do you have additional cuts you can make? Do you have I mean, that's you have does the director have absolute authority or?
Well, we pretty much have, other than raising positions, and as you know from being on a board, that what is it that you pay in the village of Mamaroneck? And that, or when I was on the school board, 85% of our budget were costs that have to do with retirement and your personnel. We have a very small amount of discretionary funds, especially in the library. You know, it goes to books, it goes to programming. That's what it goes to. And we have just cut back on them. We're freezing positions. Our findings, which is pretty weird for a library.
Yeah.
But that's what we.
Yep.
And, we're freezing the programs that we have to.
maybe we could have a village liaison to the library board. Years ago, trustee Panessa was, when they were talking about doing the, he wouldn't have any official function, but he'll be, he would attend the meetings and report back to the board.
I think it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. That is a good idea.
I think that kind of feels like Lou's kind of thought of how can we kind of know the operations and kind of what's happening.
And
So I was thinking of appointing Lou.
thanks, though. You could use the help, no?
I think the forensic accounts are doing a really fantastic job. They've been busy doing the investigation.
Mhm.
For this part, but they have been putting the protocols into place as we've been working with them. Just to your point, they have salaries, fuel, supplies, custodial supplies, telephone, taxes, election expenses, building insurance, programs, contracts, technology, trustee insurance, New York State retirement, payroll, workers' comp, disability, health insurance, and the bond. And more than 90% of our budget is for salaries and the bond. So we really don't spend a hell of a lot of money on things that we have a lot of wiggle room with. We have cut what we can. We did not have a contingency plan for this. Our contingency plan in actuality was our cash reserves. So this wasn't really a fault of organizational lack of planning. It was one line, one cash reserve line that people were told existed. I was told before I was even, when I was headhunted, before I even came to the library, that money existed. So with the exception of that, we're fine. I mean, this regular budget works. It's just the fact that we didn't want to burden the taxpayer by going out and putting out too high of a budget on them. We thought that we had this money in reserve. We thought we were being responsible by using that money so that we wouldn't burden people in the village, and that
Should she be using the microphone?
didn't exist.
Yeah,
She could. Can you hear her?
Well, I have the room, but it'd be best if.
Okay, all right. Why don't you grab that microphone? I'm sorry.
Start over.
Yeah.
Our, our budget wasn't necessarily the issue. We have salaries and the bond, which are the primary expenditures, about 90% of our budget. In addition to that, we have things like fuel, building repair, supplies, printing, telephone, postage, taxes, election expenses, building insurance, contracts, technology, trustee insurance, New York State retirement, payroll, workers' comp, disability, health insurance. The things that we have a little bit of wiggle room on, we've already cut, which are books and periodicals, professional training. We really squeezed as much as we can. It was one line in the budget, which was the cash reserve that we counted on. And that would have been our contingency plan for an emergency situation. We thought that we had between $3 and $5 million, depending on the year, in that fund. People have thought that that existed for years, and we didn't want to burden the taxpayer. So we passed a budget of 6%, thinking that we would take money out of that reserve because we had it there and we felt like it should be used and not just sitting there. And that money just did not exist. And so you asked if we had a contingency plan. Our cash reserve was our contingency plan. So at this point, no, we don't have one.
And obviously, you're going to need a competent business manager at some point. All right, thank you.
Are any of the planned programs for the library, are there any of those being cut?
They are actually, we have our centennial year going on this year. So we did do a lot of planning in advance. It was a big year for us. So we did contracts with a lot of presenters for the year. Those we're going to honor. But we have cut things that were not planned. And we're also, we have some anonymous donors who are interested in seeing certain programs go on specifically for the kids. So they're putting money towards those programs so that we can continue to provide those programs. As you know, we serve the entire population of the village and beyond, elderly, homeless, new immigrants who are just coming to this country and have found a place at the library, our children, toddlers, you know, everybody uses our space.
And my next question, like Augie mentioned, that if we aren't able to get the money by June 1st, but we are able to get in the next installment, which I think is September 1st, what happens in that period? Like, what if the money comes, you can get the money to you in August? Would the library just reopen then? Like, what happens if we're not able to fulfill and get funding to buy that date?
Like if the mechanics don't work.
Yeah, if it doesn't work out, what happens? Or is it just close to that period until money flows in? Like what are the steps?
I have a great staff, but I don't think that they work for free.
All right.
You know what I expect them to.
Yeah.
So it seems to me the immediate goal is to keep the library open between June 1st and September.
That would be the first step. Yes.
That's the first step because that's what you're facing. You're facing a June 1st close down, shutdown.
Okay.
And a chunk of that.
Would be money the village will have to outlay. Correct?
What?
But part of that June 1st payment is the village's obligation anyway.
No,
No, that's the second.
No.
The
that's the
second,
second
just the
payment.
second payment, okay.
that's all in one chunk.
The 800,000.
And the controller has a controller opined on they're given no guidance on this, the state controller.
No. When danger reared its ugly head, he quickly turned his back and fled.
I don't think they really can give us guidance in this.
Yeah.
They're not.
No, it's-
Yeah,
but the library, I mean, so what they're saying is that we've stepped on a landmine and we're shut down as of June 1st. So what's the answer to that?
they're not gonna give you an answer. Control.
I don't know if the controllers, the library never asked the controller that.
Just,
They're separate legal
It's like
entities.
business.
yeah, I know. I feel like I'm staring into
They will have no money.
a black hole that we just want to, we're being asked to pour
So
money.
then I think what we should do as a board is just meet, like Nora said, on Monday.
Yeah.
And then discuss it amongst ourselves and I guess the persons who are like Augie and Jerry, thank you. Do all what they need to do on their end. And Bob, I'm sorry.
Just so you know, Bob will not be here Monday. Bob is out of the country.
Well, lucky you, Bob. Okay, lucky you.
Be busy this week.
Somebody from Bob's office, right? Can I don't know,
Sure. I'm not sure if anyone's gonna be able to guide you.
right?
I think you all must know that we're not unsympathetic, but we have to know what we're doing with the money. We have to know that. I mean, we have to have some sort of control. I mean, some sort of,
I don't know what you mean by control. So, yeah.
to know what, to know that we're gonna, that we're not just putting good money after.
Maybe a better word is assurances.
Assurance,
Yeah.
yes, let's put that.
Because, you know, if you want control, then you buy the problem. You know what I mean?
The audience.
Is
Come to the mic.
is that a, is there a path to that, to revert to the way it used to be?
To the village and not having a separate library district.
Yeah.
I suppose the legislature that created the district would dissolve it.
That's not happening by June 1st either. though.
Fair enough.
Ellen,
I just wanted to try to address.
just
trustee
introduce
Young.
yourself, please.
Hi, Ellen Halpin, I'm on the library board. of
And how long have you been
trustees.
on that board?
Since March 20. That was my March meeting was, not very long.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. If I'm understanding you correctly, trustee Young, you're looking for assurances that we're putting the right things in place. So Jennifer has stated that she's been working with the forensic auditor, the accountant, and they've already started some protocols. So would it be beneficial to you, and I'll gladly work with you if you'd like, if we start putting in front of the whole board, what controls are going in place, what we plan on doing in the future, and as we get the monthly financial reports, we could make sure the board gets a copy.
That would be helpful. That would be helpful.
I think that would be helpful, not just for us, but for the library and the public. I assume you're trying to do some kind of fundraising too, but I think people will be comfortable if they know that this was a one-off thing. So if you gain their confidence, maybe the public can help too. Because I know the public, people are supportive.
Yes, we are definitely asking for donations and letting people know that we are putting these new protocols in place. I would be remiss if I did not say that I have a phenomenal staff who are very devoted to Mamaroneck. They are hardworking. They give over and above every day. And this one employee who caused this problem does not deserve the ability to paint all of the rest of them.
No.
Who come every day and just serve, whether it's the children or the elderly or the homeless or making sure that the building is in good repair. These people are all really devoted, and it's unfortunate that this one person was able to do this to this beloved organization. But this is our centennial, and we are a part of this community, and we were here during COVID. We were here during FEMA, and we will continue to be here. We're just asking for help from the village board and from the people of the village. If they're willing to help us through this crisis, it's an investment in our community and the investment in the people here.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the library board like to say anything? Okay. Well, we've heard you,
Thank you.
and you know, we're gonna work on the issue. I wish there was more clear-cut answers that we could give you. I think Ellen had a very good suggestion there. And so Thank you all for coming out tonight,
Thank you.
and always darkest before the dawn.
Yeah, well, if you just know that we want to help if we can, if we can.
We're gonna continue on with our meeting, but thank you all for coming out. Thank you. And, if there's anything, Ellen, if there's anything I could do, just.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Tell the girls I said hello. I missed them. I don't take the train anymore. Are they still taking the train with you? Oh, that's right. So they're all grown up and doing the
Thank
town.
you.
Like to say, I appreciate you quoting Monty Python in the middle of that.
What did I say?
Turned his tail.
Yeah. Good for you for getting the reference. Yes. Brave
Look at
Sir Robin.
Somebody
Brave Sir
knew what
Robin.
you were talking
I
about.
found a woman who understands me.
You're gonna
Sorry,
get it.
Joe, if you're watching. I was just kidding. Oh,
That's a good one.
Lordy. Oh, God help them. Under old business, building and fire code administration, village attorney. Are we holding that?
No,
No.
we had left it off a few meetings ago. You wanted some.
Yes, okay, I'm sorry. Well, let's look at it when we have more time in the next work session.
I took a stab. I really took a stab, and then I called Carolina. And I think that
I did too.
it's, I think that, it's so specific, it really needs a lawyer and somebody familiar with the building code to be
Mhm.
reviewing it. And because you can't possibly show the changes, like you can't,
Right.
that-
Struggle to try to figure out how to do it. I just
you
couldn't.
can't, I don't think you could. So I
What's
mean,
Was there much like, because I was looking through it and I know where things are struck out. Things are bolded and I didn't see many areas. So
Well,
it's like,
there's
it's a
some-
lot
it's
of newness.
there's some things that they're so different, and in order to figure it out, you'd have to have two people, one person, reading back and forth. And I think it's really technical and really specific. And
So why don't we have Carolina here?
I think she's happy with it. I mean, she's happy with it, and
She's gonna
We're-
make us happy with it.
we're months behind in doing this. So I think, we should have had,
I wouldn't worry about some.
No,
penalty.
no.
No.
but I also know they're gonna change it again in another year and a half, especially the energy code, so.
Yep.
So let's plan on talking about it in 2 weeks. And we'll have Carolina here.
Like a definite.
Jerry, is there a Carolina comes in 2 weeks?
Sure.
I'm gonna jump because Jason Pinto is on. Hey, Jason.
Good evening, Mayor.
Jason is the head of the Recreation Department, and he has an important issue on tonight.
Which is.
That's time sensitive. It's the naming of the new dog park.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Board. So staff has been working diligently since the board approved the funding for the dog park to get it built. We're getting close. We have a ribbon cutting date or opening date of May 20th. So in order to get this going, we kind of need some board advice on what we're going to name this dog park. We've been meeting with staff internally. I believe Sally Roberts provided you with a few naming options. Obviously, the board can name it whatever they like or name it after somebody if they like. It's all whatever you feel. But we do need to start getting marketing out. I know the clerk treasurer's office wants to start the licensing process for the dog park on May 1st. So we kind of need to get the name for our marketing purposes. So that's why we're here.
Okay, so the potential names that have been suggested are the Harbor Island Dog Park, the Harbor Island Dog Run, the dog park at Harbor Island, the dog run at Harbor Island Bark Park, and lastly, the Bark Park at Harbor Island. Does anybody feel strongly about these names?
No.
I like the last one.
Well, I mean, Harbor Island obviously is where it is, but does Harbor Island have to be in the name of it?
Well,
Or why not Mamaroneck Dog Park? Mamaroneck Village Dog Park or something,
I just think what I mean, to me, I think I like the idea of having Harbor Island tied to it because I feel like it's such a special place. So I feel like it needs to be like, I feel like it
Work
highlights-
hard to get that place.
I feel like exactly, and it's actually like it needs to be like highlighted that at the Harbor Island, we have all the amenities and now there's a dog park and I feel like that just needs to be included in
So
it.
I like 1 and 4 because there's less prepositions.
the dog run at Harbor Island.
What's more?
Wait, 1 and 5, sorry, 1 and 5.
Oh, I was like,
See,
Yeah.
I like 6 just because it's like different. I like, it's just a different name. Bark
More
Park.
words on the sign. That's right.
excuse me, Jason, is there room in the near future if somebody so happened to donate something towards the dog park? I don't know, bench or whatever they, just saying, that they could name it after their dog or something like that. Like
So we are, well, the Parks Department does a wonderful bench donation program. So we are going to try to get some donations in the dog park for benches specifically, and you can put a plaque and write anything you like on it. So if you would like to put a dog's
Okay.
name, you could. That's specific to a bench. But certainly we would look at accepting any donation that we would think would enhance the park if the board thought that was acceptable. I mean, we change
No,
things all the
yeah,
time.
it goes all along with like the naming, so that's why I asked, is there places where people can honor their loved pets at this place? But if we were, if I was going for, I would go either 1 or 5.
6. Well, I mean,
You just need the.
No, it's fine. The Harbor Island Park Park, it's like. Fucking Harbor Island, I feel like that's a fun name.
Need a statement with the.
Yeah, it's like.
So how about taking the out of,
Fine, that's fine. I can do that. As long as I like Bark Park. That's what I'm trying
okay,
to.
yeah, I think the is.
yeah, it's a word we could drop.
That's fine, as long as it's Bark Park.
I like bark.
That sounds, it just sounds
All right.
like fun. I like it.
I can go with Bark Park at Harbor Island.
Great.
Maybe could we, we sell the naming rights, like Alpo Dog Run for $100,000,
Oh, I've done a lot of research and you should be surprised what communities have done. Pedigree Dog Park, I don't know, they must have done a lot of donations, but some are named after whether it's a corporation and or a person. Quite a few are named after individuals who I would assume donated to build it.
Can we put up a flare for that? I mean, like a request for who wants to. Maybe somebody, a rich person wants to remember their dead dog.
Well, if you guys Googled dog park names, there's a lot of them. I like that. I just saw Howling Grounds and Wagging Tails, Paws and Barks. I like those, but.
Is there a consensus for Bark Park at Harbor Island before we go down another
Yeah.
rabbit hole here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like Bark Park. Bark, that's.
Bark Park at Harbor Island.
So number 6 without the.
Yes.
Number 6 without.
All right. All
Right.
right. We're gonna work on getting our signs and flyers made and
thank you.
but save the date, May 20th, it will be our ribbon
What time?
cutting.
What time?
Probably around 10 a.m. Mayor.
That is Saturday.
Yeah, no, it's Sunday, right?
It's Saturday.
No, it's
I
Saturday.
believe this is Saturday before we open for Memorial Day weekend.
Yep, that's right.
Oh, so you're making us work on a Saturday.
Uh,
Add it to the list.
Is it do you have, I mean, this is so not important, for the sign. Do you have a sketch of the design now? I think
I sent you one, Trustee Rawlings, but that's with a different name. We are working with the vendor. I created that. I'm not a graphic designer, but I created that in-house to give the vendor an idea of what we're looking for, but it's got a nice bone on it. Manny, if you want, you could certainly forward it to the board, but obviously it's going to change a little bit from when I sent that a few weeks back.
That's fine.
So
Thank
I
you.
can also send it to the mayor and the board.
Is the rec committee, did they sign off on all these names?
We have not, I think
That's
we
all right.
gave them the options, but we did not
That's all right. That's all
give
right.
them the ability to name it.
Okay, all right.
They're aware of the
We
names.
could ask, we could ask for additional.
We got the. Okay, so that's enough time in the ball.
Yeah.
But I'm serious. I bet you could get some cash for naming rights.
We
you-
could, I just, you know, our esteemed deputy village manager always tells me that it's a no-no for employees to solicit donations, so folks come to us and we certainly will bring them to the board, but we don't ask because.
Yeah, and not donations, but I mean, somebody, I mean, you know, like, SoFi Stadium or City Field, you know what I'm saying? It's like, whatever, I'm, you know.
Yeah,
what?
but the
City Field is taken.
What I'm saying is they paid for that and that's why it's City Field.
And that's why we continue
You do- I like
All
pausing.
right, we got, Jason, go home. Thank you.
Thank you all. We'll get working on it and we'll follow up. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Good
You
night.
too.
Where was that? That was,
That was all the way
At the
down.
beginning, it's old business. No, it's new
The
business.
final item.
3D.
3D.
Election cycles, term limits. Bob came up with, potential changes.
Yep.
This is 1B. Everybody have a chance to look at them?
Mhm.
What do you think, Lou?
let me get over here.
I don't even have it.
I have a question, not specifically about the law, but about the timing.
Yeah.
Timing. Better off having the hearings closer to July when it has to be at the Board of Elections? Are we just going to assume that nobody's going to challenge the 60-day limit?
Got over this, said, you know, it's like a China. They don't have an answer to that. I couldn't have it before. It's going back.
I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it here.
Well, you know what,
It's in the front.
the only thing they could challenge is the date of the referendum. Right?
Mhm.
So, you know what we could do? Can we make it severable? Like if the referendum is challenged and doesn't happen, the law passes?
No, but
No, wait, yeah, let me get the answer from the lawyer.
So
It's,
if you don't include the referendum requirement,
Mhm.
I'm talking.
no, I'm saying you include the referendum requirement. If someone challenges it and it gets knocked out by the court, then the law passes. Like have that severability. Like, you know, sometimes the law it says,
But it is subject to permissive.
Mhm.
right,
So you wouldn't want to be, we suggesting maybe a position where the you made the referendum really severable. So if somebody challenged the date, just that would go. But by the time that happened, that was 60 days, too late to file a referendum, because it wouldn't be a referendum.
no. This is what I'm saying. You pass the law with the referendum in it. But you say, if for some reason or if through court action, it's a ruling that there is no referendum, or a referendum is not timely, then the law passes. Because it is what I learned last year when there were 3 referendums to take power away from the office of the mayor, that I could have, you know, taken action and stayed those votes. I'm pretty sure of that. But I chose not to because I thought that the voters should have a say at the end of the day. But I know that there are people in this community who aren't as wedded to democracy as I am. And they would rather use, you know, machinations to keep things they don't like from happening.
So I'd like to think about it a little bit. I think the answer is yes. But the law would still remain subject to permissive referendum
Right.
because it's a private state law. So if somebody were to challenge the board's decision to hold the referendum on a particular day, that could go by the wayside. But if they wanted to have a referendum just on a different day, they'd have to
That's fine.
file a petition, then it would be subject to the timeframe for the.
Which is-
Petition referendum.
which is
I
6,
think we're going to have having a referendum sometime in the summer.
60 days.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay, then they'd have to do the work to do that. You know, my fear is that we do this and then they take that loophole in the law that I didn't use and use it to keep this board from passing a law that we could have passed without it. And, that to me just sticks in my craw.
So if someone were to challenge this, if we adopted the law in a month or whatever date, and someone were to challenge it because the referendum needs to be within 60 days, the court could just tell the village to hold its own referendum. That's another option, right?
Well. Yeah,
But this board wanted it in November.
Nah,
if this.
I think the community would prefer that too.
If the provision in the law for holding a referendum were set aside because the date was illegal,
Mhm.
there would no longer be a provision in the law for holding a referendum. So if there were going to be a referendum, it would be because somebody filed a petition.
So it'd be 30 days from the date of that decision, unless somebody appealed that decision. This could just drag on forever.
I'm not sure what the 30 days is. I think we'd be back to the provisions of the municipal rule law for permissive referendum.
Right, but you have to get 2,400 roughly signatures within 30 days of the date of the law passing. So you have to have some date. It wouldn't be the date we passed the law. Would it be the, well, then that would be beyond, I mean, that court, I mean, that wouldn't get that quickly expedited.
Right. We would get that. It would-
So
There would probably want to be no referendum.
So, because I know, I know who I'm dealing with here.
So it might be better to have the referendum as we did last time, pass the law at the last possible date we could, so that it could get to the Board of Elections within 90 days.
So if you recall my advice last time, there's still no certainty.
And, my research, after consulting with an attorney, was that I could have been successful. So,
my understanding was when we talked about this last time, is that we were going to pass it, or I was suggesting that we pass it. And so they want to challenge it, then they had a permissive referendum. But there was a hue and cry that the referendum had to be in November. So that's what I thought we were going to do. We were going to pass a law and put it on in November.
that's what we're doing.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. But my point is, Lou, that I don't want people who aren't in favor of the law, right, to kill the law by killing the referendum. I want to be able to, if they kill the referendum, the law passes anyway.
Oh, all right, well,
I'm confused.
I'm confused. I was ready to pass it and then say, have the referendum if you want. So I don't.
But I do believe.
If there's loopholes for people to sit there and kill it, then I think that's what Tom is just trying to say. That's all he's like.
I don't.
There are people in the
So,
stories.
I mean, I think the basic question is, if we adopt this law day one, 60 within, and we don't, it is subject to a permissive referendum. And that permissive referendum has to be held within 60 days. You have to get 2,400 signatures because that's the number that we need in the village, roughly 2,400. Within 30 days of our adopting the law, and then within 60 days of that, the referendum has to be held. We are scheduling, this proposed law schedules a referendum for November, but the state law requires that the Board of Elections have the referendum materials 90 days ahead of time. So there's a disconnect of 30 days. And
That's just your concern.
well, I mean, it's a concern. So
No, I'm saying that just a concern.
yeah, I'm
But that's valid.
and so. And it's a quirk that's particular to villages that hold elections in November. It doesn't affect a lot of other communities. And our alternative is to adopt this law, scheduling a referendum within 60 days of the adoption of it. But it seems ridiculous if the argument, which I don't, if the argument is that there's greater voter turnout in November than scheduling a referendum for May or June or July is no, it is sort of antithetical to the idea of this entire exercise being something that gets greater voter turnout.
I think we pass it as is, and I don't think they have the energy to get 24 signatures.
No, but
Because it's popular.
But they don't need 2,400 signatures if we pass it as it is. Someone could challenge the fact that we are not holding a referendum in a timely fashion in conjunction with when we vote on this law, adopt this law.
That's why I wanted to put the severability clause in. And that's doable, right?
I believe so. I can't apply it off the top of my head and say, no, I haven't thought about it. Haven't thought it through. But what I can do is I can put that together. I can review it this week, put it together and either present it to you or not in 2 weeks. If I don't think the severability is legal in this situation, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
I think it is. I'll put the provision in, then you'll have this and that, and you can
Just move
decide
forward.
what you want to do in 2 weeks.
Or we could do this. Another thing that just occurred to me. If someone takes that action and if we don't put the severability clause in, and someone takes an action to, negate the law via, negating the referendum, then we could just the next day come to the meeting and pass the darn law without the referendum.
Oh, yeah, it's always that.
Yeah.
But does that leave it to the voters, like what we?
Then they have
No,
60 days, or 30 days.
Then they have 60 days.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
They
when
don't
when
have
you're
60
meeting someone more than
They
halfway.
don't have 60 days, they have 30 days to get 2,400 signatures. And I think we would have to actually renotice the law. We can't just come to a meeting and pass the law. We have to renotice it and go through the process. There is a process for adopting laws.
Right, but there wouldn't have to be a process for a vote. So you could adopt the law at your leisure. And when I said the next meeting, I didn't mean the next meeting, Lauren, you know that.
All right.
I like that second idea that you had.
All right, then let's just go through with this.
I like that.
So when do we want to schedule this for? What do you suggest in terms of what we know about New York State and election law? The adoption of it, so we could schedule public hearings.
Well, we went through this last year, 2 years ago. I think you're better off, if you're worried about this anomaly between village law, involving November elections, you're better off delaying it. But that didn't wind up in a challenge last time, so. There's no firm legal ground. I'm not, I can't tell you based on case law or precedent or statutory provision that you're better off waiting. Because either way, you miss the time frame.
I'm not inclined to wait.
I don't know how we would actually have, I mean, it can't take it, if we adopt this law. Well, I guess it wouldn't affect this year's election no matter what happened.
Or the next one.
Yeah, it would affect, it wouldn't, no, it wouldn't affect the next one. The next one would be for 2 years. Right.
Because
Right.
you're superseding portion of the village law. Would have done the transition by using a 5-year term,
Mhm.
which based on your comments last time, you didn't want to do.
So by adopting a law, are we not having this as a referendum in November?
No, we are.
This, if you adopt it in this form, there will be a referendum.
Okay, then cool.
In November, subject to the possibility of public.
Once people could vote.
That the referendum is illegal because it wasn't
Mhm.
established within the time frame.
Great,
The law requires.
Okay,
adopt it.
Okay, so let's schedule a public hearing.
2 weeks.
Don't we have to move it to a regular meeting to schedule a public hearing?
Yes, that's what that's what I meant. That's
Well,
what
no,
we always do.
well, okay, our resolution says it's for 2 weeks from now, but I think that was.
We have to what we have to do is we have to have a consensus to schedule a public hearing. That's what I was talking about.
And the resolution we have here schedules a public hearing for April 24th.
I know, Nora,
So,
I know, Nora,
okay.
we have to have a consensus at this meeting to do that. That's what I'm asking for. Is there a consensus to schedule a public hearing?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Put this on the agenda for the 24th. Sally,
The regular meeting agenda.
the regular meeting, Sally,
Yes, Mayor.
put this on the agenda for the 24th, regular meeting.
Got it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. Climate action plan, we're gonna wait for our friends at the Committee for the Environment. They're gonna be here next meeting. Second round of ARPA funding. Jerry, you want to talk about this?
Mayor, Mr. Sarnoff and I composed a memo for the board. Let me pull it up real quick if I could.
Gonna use the loop. Go ahead.
So we have 900, I think we have, yeah, I'm pretty sure we have $950,000 that we received in the second round. And the board asked me, or us, to come up with a couple of suggestions. I have a few right here. The first one is based on my experience with the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery. They have a cap of $30,000 to assist individuals who have lost. So many people have lost everything. They lost their belongings and their savings because they had to move and rent in higher priced locations. And I'm sure, and I'm very confident that the money that's coming down from the state is going to help many people. But there will be, unfortunately, some people that are not going to qualify due to the unmet criteria.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to set aside some money for that, where they would, of course, the way I present it is that they would go through the program and be denied, and then the village would reconsider their case. So that would be something along those lines for the 280,000. We put in there $50,000. Although the police do a lot of training, I believe that there's more training that we could purchase and schedule for non-police staff, which is management staff and other related non-police staff, as well as police, for community acceptance awareness and intervention services. I think it's important that we continue to, well, let me put it this way: we shouldn't go from news cycle to news cycle when we get when we focus on these things. We should do it as a regular process. And I think that potentially jumpstarting it with the $50,000, in essence, grant that we're getting from the federal government could be something that we do on an annual basis, especially when we see what works and what doesn't work, or what we feel is appropriate, and what we think is redundant. The $220,000 for police vehicles, we purchased, as everyone knows, we purchased either hybrid police vehicles or electric vehicles now. That was something that was removed from the budget and was going to be capitalized. We were going to do a capital bond issuance for the 220,000. Obviously, if you saw a little bit of the final rule paperwork that we provided the board, you can really spend this money on many things. You just can't adjust certain pension and other obligations with it. But purchasing new police vehicles absolutely qualifies. And then this was something where we received multiple requests from a couple of area churches and areas, places where many people gather and use as community spaces, both in the flood-prone area of the village, probably the most severe flood-prone areas of the village. We did have a petition, both English and Spanish written petition of almost 300 people asking for the sidewalk to be repaired around the Underhill, Monsignor Goodwine, New Street area, as well as the Howard Lester location, which is Pastor Taylor's church. So those are the things that I've come up with. Maybe the board has some additional, they can move money around, but this was a starting point, I think a jumping off point that the board asked to potentially consider.
Is it the 220 for those that you said would be capital, that was, is that 220 for those police vehicles off the capital that we approved, or is it a past capital budget item?
So the chief, in order for me to make the budget work, the chief had put in $220,000 to purchase new police vehicles in the general budget. I removed that so that we could bring that, remember that 9% issue that we had, it brought it down to 1.16. Part of that reduction was to remove $220,000 worth of police vehicles that came out of the operating budget that would go into a capital budget last year. And we were able to include the purchase of police cars in the operating budget because the operating budget did not have all the issues associated with the pension and the health costs and the insurance increases.
Got it.
So that's why there was that change.
So this would allow us to purchase them without them being capitalized.
Yeah.
That's correct. Pay in cash.
And what's the, I mean, this is about will be the timeline of getting these vehicles? I know I feel like every time we hear about a vehicle, it's 9+ months out or years out.
So it continues to be that, Manny. It's typical. It's getting a little bit better, but there's also, we really never know what we're doing. We would try to locate the vehicles if we can that are on the lot or sitting on the lot, because these vehicles get pumped out pretty much the same. They're identical, obviously, but we would see, it would probably be at least 6 months.
Got it. Thank you.
It's not that we don't have new vehicles, though. We did get our replacement vehicles from the flood because we lost 3 in the flood. So it's not like we don't, but these would be normal, regular replacement vehicles. Because as you know, our vehicles get used 24/7. We don't have one vehicle per police officer per shift. They get used constantly.
Got it. So these 3, whenever these 3 additional happen, we would get three.
We retire the oldest.
Retired. Okay. Great.
Excuse me.
Somebody have any questions, concerns, or?
Can any of the funding, I definitely don't want to take anything away from the residents who possibly couldn't afford any of the governmental funding coming down, but is there any way that we can set aside money even for nonprofits that were affected by and don't necessarily can apply for?
This would be part of that, Leilani.
It will go under the same one as the residents?
Yeah, well, if the nonprofits apply for funding through the Office of Storm Recovery and are denied, we could assist them with this $280,000 that we put aside.
Yeah, I just didn't want to take any of the money from the resident side. I was just trying to see if it could be separate. I just rather keep that money because I know there's more so that there's a lot of residents who do need it as much as they can possibly get. But if there could have been separate, but can't.
There can be. I mean, you can pull 100,000 away from the sidewalk. Down at the bottom of the
you
memo.
put it like that, yeah, we'll pull from the sidewalk when we know we need money for the sidewalk.
What do we do? Magicians like me, we move money around and it still looks good at the end. So we can do things that we need to do things. You just can't add more ARPA money. We we got 1.9 million. That's what the government decided December,
Yes.
so.
Jerry, are you confident that people will, that you'll be able to distribute that entire 280,000?
Yeah.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
What happens?
I think, yeah, I think there will be people who, for whatever reason, were unable to qualify, not for status but I think, keeping receipts is probably something that people wish they would have done before the flood.
Got it.
So that's where I'm going with that.
If we do not, if all the money is not used up, what happens? Does that just move to another like balance?
Yeah, I would come to you with the 280, Manny.
Yeah, like let's say we
I'd
use.
come to you and ask for another, I'd either recommend another initiative or ask you to come up with something.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody fine with this?
Yep.
Good. Let's put this on for next meeting.
Thank you. I think
Thank
it's great. I think it's very creative.
Thank you. Establishing meter parking on the 500 to 900 block.
What does that mean?
Yeah, it's you.
Mm,
It's
We
you.
talked about this at the last meeting.
good job, Dan.
Yeah, you asked us to provide some additional financial information, just a little tied up with the short week last week and wasn't able to get to it. So we'll have it ready for the next meeting.
All right, Daniel. I'll take that.
All right,
But
Dan.
please,
Thank you, trustee Izervid.
thank you.
All right. Next up is 2A, acceptance of a canine. So police chief asked for this.
What the hell?
She wants to adopt Ike.
That's the name of the dog?
Yeah, and it's a female.
Okay, I was
There's a
like, I
picture.
turn.
It's for folks that are dog enthusiasts.
See, that's
Can I
what we
share
should
my
have named the
screen, Mary?
dog park after.
Here's a
Yeah.
picture of Ike.
I like
Ike
Ike.
is-
There it is. There
Ike
she
is
is.
not, Ike is not your normal police dog. Ike is more like a comfort dog, who will be used in situations also where there's domestic violence in the house. And
Hanging dogs.
people in the family could use a little comfort and a little love. So that is a picture of our friend Ike. So if we accept this donation, we will be seeing Ike in the community. And she looks like a very good-looking, healthy, and those are the sweetest, smartest dogs.
I'm comforted just looking at it.
What an amazing idea.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Do we know, who donated?
Yes, we do know donator because we're accepting the donation from them.
Southeastern guide dogs.
She was gonna be a guide dog.
Hmm.
Westchester County has worked with this outfit and they've accepted a number of dogs from them as well. They've been pretty-
And I think Sandy has met Ike.
Blessings.
Amazing. And where will Ike hang out when she is not being used?
What do they do with the police dogs is an officer is assigned to the dog. The dog then lives with that officer's family. There's a
wow.
special vehicle. You'll see one of the police vehicles says canine on it. And there's a cage back there and the dog lives, is this policeman's partner, lives with just that policeman. The current canine officer is retiring. And
So is the dog.
he takes the dog with him.
The dog gets to retire too.
But I don't know what he's gonna do with the dog.
You really can't be
Is
assigned.
that a statement? You know that?
No, I think the dog does, the dog.
The dog's not gonna be
to
with
work.
us.
The dog
You can't
gets-
reassign a dog like that.
You
It's just-
can't reassign the dog. You can't simulate a dog like that.
They work with one person. and they-
Yeah.
Do we know the new officer who's gonna take?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I did speak with the chief. I believe she's interviewing candidates for.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Oh,
This
let
is
me,
where I
let me.
remember covering a story years ago where they had this in a court where traumatized witnesses, child abuse victims and stuff like that, they would have a dog to come and sit with the witnesses when they were being interviewed.
Yeah.
Might get one for up here.
Maybe one special dog.
Yeah, so everybody fine with this being on a regular agenda?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Presentation from the library board, we had that. That was an interesting thing.
Yeah. Like,
You never know what's gonna happen in this job. Okay, the next up is communication to the board at regular meeting. I was a bit perturbed at the last meeting, by folks not following the rules and, kind of militantly not following the rules. So I took a look at what the other communities around us and in Westchester County are doing. And I just want to comment on what other communities are doing. Every other community that I've seen in Westchester County has one communication to the board period, not two. No other community allows folks to speak on agenda items. I think we are alone in that distinction. I know New Rochelle, Pelham, Rye, all have a 3-minute on public comment. Largemont and the town of Mamaroneck limit public hearings to 3 minutes. With a public hearing, you can only speak in 3 minutes. Now, we have unlimited public hearing speech. We allow people 3 minutes on each agenda item, which no other community does. We allow 2 communication to the board that are 5 minutes long each. Now, I really don't want to, I don't want to take anything away. I really don't. I did because, it's, I'm human and I was perturbed. But what I do want to do, and I'm not going to do it tonight, and it's, this is the mayor's prerogative as he runs the meeting, is taking the communication to the board down to 3 minutes instead of 5 minutes, which is what everybody else does, and enforcing it. And, tonight I'm going to enforce the 5-minute limit. And if somebody goes over the 5-minute limit, I'm going to ask them to please finish their thought. But if they persist, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. And then
That would be great.
and then we're going to reconvene, and everybody else is going to lose their ability to have public comment because people can't follow the rules. It's a very generous rule. It's a very generous situation that is not replicated anywhere in Westchester County. I just ask folks to please, like tonight will be 5 minutes because no one's had any warning, and I'm not going to do it without warning. But I'm asking folks to please, be respectful of, the rules of the meeting. And, I always like to point out that the Gettysburg Address was 247 words. And in it, Mr. Lincoln explained the cause of the law, the progress of the law, where the war currently existed, and what his plans for the future were. And it probably took him about 2.5 minutes. Now, I don't expect everybody to be Abe Lincoln, but we're not talking about Civil War here either. So, I expect people to try and make their point. And when people address the board, you're supposed to be addressing the board. It isn't, this isn't Parliament, and it's not, 50 questions for the board. If you have a statement for the board, make your statement, and please, respect the rules and move on. So tonight I'm going to be enforcing a 5-minute rule. I hope that the board supports me in that. Because I think we're being more open and giving people more opportunity to communicate with this board and to let their opinions be known than any other community around us. I don't think the town of Rye even has a period where the public can comment. And you're not required by law to have that.
And I would suggest that going forward that we rename this rather than invitation to address the board. It's an invitation that people will accept or not accept. And if you accept the invitation, you accept the rules that come with the invitation. Because it's a 3-minute limit.
I like that idea a lot.
And that's it, because this is not required by law. I think it's great that we're being open, but we're hearing from the same few people repeatedly, and that's fine. But they seem to regard it as a forum in which to address the universe.
A
And
political forum.
it's really an
Yeah.
invitation to talk to us.
Yeah.
All right.
I would only ask because I know and I appreciate, I don't mind dropping it down to 3. But just if we can remember as much as possible, because we all are human, that to be consistent with it. And I think that's ownership on our part, is to be consistent with every person who does come up and speak, that they have to stay within that confine of the 3 minutes.
Well, tonight's gonna be 5 minutes, but.
I mean, yes, and moving after, go within the confines of whatever minutes that we set for each of the
Yeah,
meetings.
well, I'll say this, though. I think that the person presiding at the meeting should have the discretion to let somebody go a little longer if they're whatever.
And just because of how sometimes how residents can be,
Okay, but-
you don't want to sit there. Sometimes you don't want to open yourself up, because that's what happened last time. Oh, you let somebody else do this, and then it just
There has
became
to be-
ridiculous. And now we have to set rules because some other persons may feel some type of way because somebody got something that they didn't.
Yeah.
It's just the pettiness that we have to deal with, unfortunately.
If there's something enough before we open the communication to the board. Like I feel like we need
And
to
you
know
get
the rules before the invitation happens, communicate to the board.
I would, okay, well, sorry.
No, yeah.
I'm interrupting you. And
I just think something, I like Lou's idea of like, it's an
I
invitation.
like
but I
that
just-
too.
But I just think it's an invitation, and before we open it up, these are the rules. You have these many minutes to speak. When the time is up, you know, politely sit down. Like, I just think we can't keep allowing, people to come up and be like, well, the last person did this, or 2 meetings ago, somebody did exits. No, like, this is the rule, and we need to make sure the rules are enforced and followed. I just think it's unfair to the people who, when we have staff here who are waiting for a specific agenda item and we go on for hours and they have to stay here for hours just to discuss one item. I just don't think it's fair
Well,
to the, just the staff.
and from what I hear, that we broke records at the last meeting
Yeah.
because we stayed too long.
Well, too, at the last meeting, there were young people here for an item.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to the item until, I don't know, darn near 10 o'clock.
And there was actually more people who actually left for that
Yeah.
item that did not get to speak because of
Yeah,
that.
It's not fair to the people who are here for specific items, and we just have to wait till it's go on. And it's not just because people are speaking for 5 minutes, it's the people who want to come over 5 minutes and they're not being respectful to
Right.
the board and the people who are here to speak.
And I would suggest this also, since a lot of animus seems to be directed at the mayor, that that when we announce these rules, that one of us instructs.
No, it's my job to run a meeting.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but just back me up, I appreciate it. And I know you will. You're that kind of guy.
I love sitting next to you because I can come up with anything, and no matter how bad an idea it is, they'll blame you.
I know.
Nora, you have anything?
Yeah, I think it's pretty closed of us to be doing this.
It's pretty what?
I think it's pretty closed-minded of us to be doing this.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just an invitation to the public to allow them to speak. We invite them to vote for us as well. And, we've just now are about to adopt the law where we go to 4-year terms, which is a little bit less accountable than a 2-year term. And I think there has been a great inconsistency with the application or the limitation of the 5-minute rule. And I think that people are correctly object to the fact that it hasn't been administered evenly. But, I think we should be welcoming people to come to speak to us, and maybe we don't want to hear what they have to say. Maybe it's a little tough on us, but, we're elected officials. It's our job to listen to people. And I think that this is not I don't think this is a good optic. I don't think it's a good decision. And I think it's after, last week's meeting maybe it was a little bit tough, but I think people deserve to be able to tell us what they think.
And there's nothing, and hold on. No, can I please? Can I please?
Yeah, go please.
I don't think that anybody said that there was anything wrong with the persons of what they were saying, because that is our job, yes, to listen. But at some point, I think if you didn't if even not even the last meeting, in prior meetings, there is a decorum. At some point, when do you say, like, okay? There's a level of not just even for the very least respect for the people who are in the audience. there could be a time limit. And we're not even saying that you only could speak once. We're not even saying that, because there's plenty of people who come up more than once with more than one grievance. And that's within their right. But to be able to limit it to 3 minutes and then allow other people in our community to speak is reasonable. We're not telling them that they can't say
No,
what
no
they
one
need to
said that.
say.
So
So I would actually, I'm not telling you what to do, but to sit there and say that we're sitting there saying that people can't say what they want to say is a little like, nobody said that.
maybe we should limit ourselves to 3 minutes as well then, because I think a lot of our talking lengthens the meeting too. So maybe we should use the timer on ourselves as well.
That's fine. But I would definitely not say that I sat there and said that I didn't like to hear what people are saying.
Yeah, no,
That's
no
a
one-
little
no one
bit
said that,
much.
and that was an unfair characteristic of what I was saying. What I was saying is, people are not following the rules, people are not addressing the board, people are addressing, political points. And, you might be fine with that, but that's really not the purpose of this. The purpose of this is to address the board. There has to be, some rules. I mean, I know when I first became mayor, there was no time limit. And we had people speaking up there for 35, 40 minutes at a clip. That's not what that's for. There's public access for that. That's hijacking a meeting where we're supposed to be doing our business. No other board allows people to speak on agenda items. And when I was with the town of Mamaroneck, I remember Nancy Selson used to say at the beginning of each meeting, does anybody have anything to say about anything on the agenda tonight? And you were supposed to just speak about what was on the agenda. And I was at the beginning of the meeting. And when the meeting,
Okay.
I'm still talking to her. And when the meeting started, that was your chance for public comment. Now, we're going to allow people in the beginning to talk. We're going to allow people on every item to talk. And we're going to allow people at the end to talk. But there has to be some,
Boundaries.
yes.
Reasonable boundaries.
And I think it's kind of unfair to say we don't, I,
It's very
from
unfair.
your, it's very difficult to get people to stop talking in the middle of a thought. And I think we try to and attempt to say, like, when the 5 minutes up, they hear the alarm go off and we have them stop, but people just don't respect that. It's like the timer went off and they're like, no, that's not my time. So I think we try to enforce it, but people simply just don't care. And I just think as long.
And we had
let them keep going,
We had two
then
people
it
just
doesn't matter.
refuse to get.
Two
Stop.
people
Yeah,
it
so-
started off by saying 5 minutes isn't enough and I'm going over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, no, you're not.
It's hard to have that precedent.
About 3 minutes.
So
I-
do people not have access to the mayor during office hours? And even though it's once a month, I've also offered office hours. And then on top of that, we have access to emails. We have access to phone numbers. We have, and if any individual wanted whatever they're saying needs to go over 3 minutes in that space at that one particular moment in time, do they not have access more so to access us?
They have access, people have access to individual board members, but you can't speak to the board as a whole unless the board is in a publicly convened meeting.
A
So-
meeting, and
I-
that,
you
but
know,
that's, I understand that point too. I get it, but 3 minutes is not like I don't even want to say what I want to say, but it's not, to me, it's not the end of the world, and I understand. But it's multiple times throughout the
think we need
day,
to be
the
A
evening.
little more strict with people who continue to come and disrespect the time limit.
If we're gonna be strict with one person, we have to be strict with
I-
every person. We have to be consistent.
And
we
I
have
did
not
say
been
that.
consistent.
Didn't I
We
not
have-
say that?
You did, but we have not been.
I
consistent.
said that.
You know what? We have tried to be consistent. It is very difficult. It's easy to sit on that side and say how the meeting should be run. When you're trying to run it and people are not, like my mother would say, deliberately, violating the rules. It's hard because, I don't want to have, a situation where it would happen at another time when, the police officer had to ask somebody to leave. I don't want to have that happen. And I believe there are people who are trying to, cause that to happen.
Nora, I'll point out that the first time I ever sat in for Tom, that meeting, we had people coming up and getting behind the dais and conferring with us and speaking from the audience. I had to tell everybody to sit down and be quiet, and I was chastised for being abrupt. I mean, we're the board. You know, we have to control the environment that we're deliberating in. We can't, it's not a free for all for whoever wants to show up.
I agree.
And some people show up here from outside the community.
Yeah.
And,
I
and,
think that's what we saw
and want to
last
go
time.
over 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, you know, and we don't ask that they show their ID from where they live, but 3 minutes is fine.
Well, anyway,
Especially when you have a second chance at it and you can talk at any point in the meeting. I mean, nobody does that.
nobody does that.
I've covered many meetings. You can't do that anywhere. This is the most open a board that I've ever seen. The fact that this work session is being televised is unusual. Work sessions usually happen literally in a back room, and you can come in and sit if you want, but it's, you know, you're not made to feel welcome. That's usually where the business is done. And I think it's great that we have open work sessions, and we broadcast everything, and that we have all this public comment. But enough's enough.
I
Enough's
just think
enough.
the goal should be to be more strict. I just think of like, I just keep going back. We have staff that come to the meetings. We have us who are at these meetings. We have residents, like we have the young people at the meetings. And you just have people able to just disrespect all those people and go on and not respect the rule of 5 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever we're going to decide it to be. That just isn't fair to anyone. I just think we have to be strict. And I agree. Like if we decide, like Mr. Tom, like today, if people go over, we're going to close the meeting, then we close the meeting. I just think it's not fair to have people come here and, you know, some people are going to come here and be respectful, like, and understand, like, great, they get the 5 minutes and they're going to sit down, or if they're coming to listen to a certain piece of the meeting and know, like, oh, great, the same 5 or 6 people are going to come and disrespect the rules. It's not fair to residents. It's not fair to the staff who come and have to present. It's not fair to us. It's just not right. I don't think it's okay that it continuously gets to happen.
And we have 20,000 residents here. I'd like to see more of them come and speak, not be scared away by
it's like, oh, it's going to take too long because we know these people
it's
are-
somebody else's time because they're here every week.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that's all I got to say.
At the end of the,
I support you.
okay, at the end of the day, the time limits are up to the mayor. So I'm going to announce it tonight before.
All right.
And it's going to be 5 minutes tonight because I don't think it's fair to change it. on the
It
fly.
wouldn't be fair to change it today.
No, so, all right. Thank you. The majority of you for support. Fireworks show. Calendar for 3C. Jerry?
Mayor, we want to make sure that the board is okay with us signing off on a contract. What's the date then? April 15, so that we can
Yeah.
secure a price.
For
Same price
next
as last year.
for next year's show, the 2024 show.
Is it the same?
It's the same, they're holding the price, but because of the worldwide issues with moving with, men and material and women, the fireworks, just such a delay in getting this stuff done, and there's such a fluctuation in the market. We want to be able to lock in the rate and the date now for the 2024 show.
Have we always been using these same people?
Yeah, we've used them for a number of years. A couple of years ago, we were approached by another fireworks company who's pretty well known and does a fireworks show down in New York City on July 4th. And their pitch was, well, we're Grucci. It really wasn't much of a pitch, but we've been pretty happy with this company. You don't want to deal with a fly-by-night fireworks company.
Last year.
No, you do not.
And it wasn't good last year.
Keep in mind, they all come from China.
I said they was not good last year.
The fireworks?
Fireworks are all made in China, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not.
How much will it save us?
I don't remember talking to them about the price increase, Nanny. Maybe Dan, you did, but I don't recall. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to hold the price for 2024. Unless there's some reason why we're not going to do fireworks on July 4th, 2024. I don't think that there's much of an issue here. we're pretty comfortable with this fireworks company.
Yeah,
It's the same price as this year, which they wouldn't guarantee if we wait till negotiated.
I'm not even worried about the price. I'm
Is
just
there,
worried about
is
the
there,
service.
is there any reason not to go think beyond it? Why are we only doing one year? I feel.
I think that's what he's offering. I don't know if we can,
Yeah, I think
we can try to
there's,
do a couple, but
I think with the unpredictability of, the world markets when it comes to this type of material, it would be difficult to ask him to honor the same price for, 3-4 years in a row.
and since I've been here, I think the price has only gone up $1,000. In 19 and I don't know if we did them in 20. I can't remember.
No, we didn't do them in 2020. We had to cancel.
Right. So in 19 we were 18,000, I think. Now we're 19,000.
They delayed it to 21. They allowed us to do that as long as we rescheduled. for
Right.
21.
Yeah, I remember now. Thank you, Nora. Yeah, they were pretty considerate. We were, we couldn't have a pandemic 4th of July. So
They put on a good show too.
Okay, all right.
You like it?
Not last year, no.
No.
Mm-mm.
Really?
Most of it is.
Wow.
All right, gosh, we got through another agenda.
Good job.
It's the second week in a row we've gotten through the agenda.
So I guess we're moving this up to the work session.
No, Do you
Or is it-
need a
do we
vote
need
or
to-
something on this?
We have advice of council.
No, wait up.
I mean,
know that.
executive
No,
session.
no, let me run the meeting, okay? Jerry, do you need this? This
No,
fireworks?
no. No, Mayor, we typically just order the fireworks because it's in the budget. So when you
Okay.
vote on the budget, you vote on the fireworks. So
All right, so you were just
we're
letting
just
us
letting
know.
you know. Yeah, we're just letting you know that we're gonna add it to the budget, and that's what it's gonna be.
All righty, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
I need a motion to go into executive session, advice of council, for the Connecticut Fund for the Environment, doing business as Save the Sound Soundkeeper and the Atlantic.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I don't need that executive session, is what we do after the report on that.
Oh, okay.
Well, then we got a whole 45 minutes.
Not even,
Wow.
nothing about Atlantic clams? Nothing about that?
We'll do it in 4 weeks then,
Maybe 2 weeks.
but you won't be, you'll be here in 2 weeks. You'll be here in 2 weeks.
All right.
Next week.
I need a motion to close the work session.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
blessings.
Happy day.
In a bit.
You know, we don't have extra, we don't have any of those copies of those pictures.
Sherry,
None of the
Yeah.
copies, so I gotta go hunt that down.
I'm listening.
I'm gonna send you, I'll scan it, a flyer I got from Genesis Tree Company
Okay,
about, they must have done a mailing.
okay.
Very good. It fell off.
And they want to do like tree removal and all sorts of things. So do you know them?
I know that some customers, some residents have used them because I recall their name on a
So
tree
they're in
permit.
White Plains. I just wanted to make sure they knew about the tree permit. So I'll scan
Yeah.
this, send it to you.
I've seen their company name on a couple of tree permits.
All right, I'll scan and send it to you so that
Yeah,
they.
good. Thanks.
Chief,
Okay.
Okay.
There's only 2 of us.
See you guys at 8 o'clock.
When? I don't wanna come.
Hey, Danny, you there? Oh, he's gone. All right. Yeah. As soon as the planner's all situated, we're
He's
gonna
back,
go.
Lou. He came back.
Yes, Lou.
Hey, Tom, your jacket's under your chair here.
When are you meeting with Lou and the planner about the business recruitment?
Greg starts next Monday.
Okay.
So I'll try to schedule something in those first couple of days to talk about that.
Okay, can you make sure to invite me to it, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Augie,
Oh, he's running away.
Yes.
you have a date?
Gotta run.
Do you have a day yet? A day scheduled or no?
They scheduled, they just sent the authorization to PERMA.
All right.
Once PERMA approves it, then we can set a date.
Do we need to push perma along? Let me know. So I can get RJ to do that.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jerry. I'm gonna reach out to my.
Check your
claims
text. I
adjuster
sent you
tomorrow
some, forwarded you an email. Check it.
Okay.
and
Just
see-
remember also, Jerry, our realtor attorney, I believe, is general counsel for them as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. That's even more.
Yeah,
That's even more juice than all
I think,
that.
yeah, he
Okay,
has some juice.
thank you.
No executive session, right?
Nope,
No.
we have a whole hour,
Pretty good, too. Oh, hour, no, 8 o'clock, right?
8:15, I think, is it? Oh, yeah, we moved it to 8, 5:15 and 8, yeah. Go to the library.
Oh, yeah. I saw the email about the fundraiser, Facebook, about the fundraiser.
Augie, can you mute the microphone?
Did they?
Are you on host,
4 million.
since we're still open?
Bob, can I mute the microphone?
Yeah, I mean, I,
Bob, hold on.
I mean, and they used to have a friends group, but they got rid of that. Yeah,
Thank you, Dan.
I mean, the
You ready?
One to two.
Good evening. Good evening, and welcome to the Village of Mamaroneck Board of Trustees meeting for April 10th, 2023. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Hi.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. There are emergency exits.
Here and there.
Thank you for helping me out with that. One on my right and one on my left. Please use them in a orderly fashion. If God forbid there's an emergency. If you have a cell phone, I'm sure you all do, please put it on mute during the meeting. Thank you very much. Need a motion to open this meeting.
That.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. The first item is communication to the board, and I just want to explain something tonight. Although I don't think it's going to be an issue tonight. The communication to the board is for residents to bring their issues to the board. It's not necessarily a question and answer session. And there's a 5-minute limit on it tonight. And I'm asking everybody to please observe the 5-minute limit. It's going to be now on in, the limit is going to be scrupulously adhered to because folks weren't adhering to it and weren't even trying to adhere to it. And so, you know, we can only go as fast as the slowest runner, right? So if anybody would like to address the board at this time, the mic is open.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna do you, I'm gonna take you out of order, so just, okay? That's the end of communications to the board. Because there are folks here for an item on the agenda, and they are some of our hardworking volunteers, I just want to do that item first, and that's the resolution authorizing Rockland Avenue traffic corridor study. And if you would like to say something on that, now would be an opportune time.
Sounds good.
No, you please go to the mic and state your name for the record. And it says a 3-minute time limit.
My name is Mandy Stikos. I live at 519 Post Street in Mamaroneck. I'm here really just to support, and first of all, actually, I want to thank everyone who kind of listened to my year's worth of emails about Rockland Avenue and got it to this point, because it's simply not safe. I started walking my son to school 2 years ago and realized that there's just not a safe way to walk to school, to Central Elementary. There's no sidewalks for an area, there's a hill, there's a curve, there's a 4-way stop with really no safe cross area. It's a mess. And there are trucks, because everyone who might know that area is very industrial.
Yeah.
There are a ton of trucks that come by. They don't know the area at all. They don't know there's a 4-way stop after the hill and the curve from all different directions. And so people barely go the speed limit there, and they're definitely speeding, blowing the stop sign. And outside of my dining room window, I also watch the stream of high school children regularly on Rockland Avenue, because I'm on hills, so I can see Rockland through my window. And there are high school kids who I think they're walking across the bridge to the Larchmont area. And they're also mostly walking to the whole, I guess people call it the flats, because there's so many 2- and 3-family houses and apartments there.
Sure.
So all the high school kids walk in groups there, and high school gets out different times. So, you know, so really I'm just here to support sidewalks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's it for me.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak to this issue of Rockland Avenue traffic corridor study?
Hi, my name is Lori Corson. I'm Mandy's neighbor. I live at 531 Hill Street. And my husband likes to take walks. He walks 2 or 3 times a day. He's 72 years old, and he almost always walks up and down Rockland. And it's very dangerous for him to be doing that. There's even a rock right on the side of the street that I've seen cars hit and kind of, and I've seen kids trip over. It's a dangerous area, Rockland and Waverly, that corner, terrible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody, okay, sure, sure. Hey, What'd you bring them up here and I'll hand them out?
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Good evening.
So as you know,
Okay, please.
oh, I'm sorry, my name is Kate
Thank
DeHaze. I live at 419 Prospect, so I don't live in this neighborhood. But I spend a fair bit of time down there because our committee's been working on the Rockland Pocket, which is right there. So I've walked up and down that way many, many times, and I just want to support what Mandy says. When you come off the bridge, and there is sidewalk on the bridge, there's a curve. And it's quite narrow, and there's the rock that was mentioned, but there's also a little wall. So it's super narrow. Sometimes the cars swing out.
Mhm.
There can be cars in each direction. And the trucks come flying out of the industrial zone. So, and there's no sidewalk at all on either side. So it's really dangerous. It's just terrifying, actually, what could happen to some kid walking.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have before us a resolution for the village to hire AKRF to study and collect, analyze crash data, traffic volume and speed data, including turning movements along the corridor, and conduct on-site observations of pedestrian, cyclist and vehicular activity. And this was going to cost $14,500. And a lot of people get frustrated by studies, but to do a good traffic analysis is worth its weight in gold, because it's hard to just do this on the fly without professional advice and without collecting the data. So don't be frustrated by the fact that there's a study and we're just not, immediately doing something. So would anybody like to make a motion?
I would, so moved.
Second.
Augustino.
Trustees Rollins?
Yes.
Guys, Reed?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Aye, thank you very much for your input. Now we're going to go back to the public hearings, which is first one is PLLG. That's to exceed the tax cap. We are adjourning that to the 24th. That's already been
24th or 7th.
24th. That's
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah. And the public hearing on PLLI to amend village code to include requirements for fair and affordable housing for all zones in the village of Mamaroneck. We have all the necessary secret, Dan?
I believe that I prepared our EAF. I think we're waiting for a new resolution to declare lead agency because we have to refer this to Westchester County.
All right, so this is gonna hold off until 2 weeks from now?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. Let's make sure we have everything. I know the Hunter lot rezoning is holding off until we get HCMC input.
Tomorrow night.
And the public hearing is going to be continued tomorrow night at 5:30 in this room on the tentative budget. So, those are our public hearings tonight. Resolution authorizing budget transfers for various utility accounts. Let me turn to that. You have a resolution in front of you. Good night, ladies.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is the bond transfer?
On principle, the bond interest.
Yeah. Okay, it's mislabeled here. All right, everybody have the resolution in front of you? There's 3 transfers.
Well, this was done at the last meeting.
What?
This was approved at the last meeting. The board approved this resolution on March 22nd.
Oh, yeah, I see. That's what it says, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know why that's there.
It's here, okay. Budget transfers for rec department. And see, we're putting money into day camp supplies from other accounts that were under budget. And it's an amount of $5,200. Any questions or concerns? Any questions from the audience? Any motion?
So moved.
Augie.
Trustees Rollins?
Yeah.
Guys, Reed,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Aye. Abstract of manual vouchers, tonight it's, hold on. Here, pull this up. $152,766.86. Anybody have questions or concerns? These are mostly, utility costs.
I just had one, and it's minor, but it's page 30.
Page 30?
Page 30, yeah. Oh, wait, oh,
No, you're on the wrong one,
You're
Laura.
right, you're on.
You're on the
I'm
manual.
Big one, you're, okay, right, sorry.
Hold that thought.
Yep.
Anybody have any questions on the manual? Entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Augustino?
Trustees Rawlings. Yep. Guys, Reed,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Aye. Abstract of ordered vouchers and tonight's grand total is $1,347,635.24. Nora, I believe you have a question?
Yeah, actually, I had two. One is page 7, and it's Jenny King. It's just it's a big bill for cleaning. I assume it's a few months. It might just be a few months put together. And it's over $12,000 for March, but I don't know, just seems like a lot.
We had gaps in staff, so it is a few months.
Okay.
It is, it is a few months, yeah.
And then the other one is on page 30, there's some Party Finger. It's in contract services, but it's for DBA, so I just wondered why it was in a different billing dose.
Which item are you referring to, trustee Lucas?
Page 30.
Yep.
McCarthy Finger.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down.
Hmm.
It's contract services and it's for the ZBA legal consulting. It's just not out of the legal fee.
$1,354.50.
Okay.
Okay, can you look that up and
Yeah,
get
just,
an answer?
Yeah, it might just be as simple as a journal entry. I think I can't recall if we've charged legal fees for the planning board and zoning board and Harbor Coastal directly to those budgets.
okay.
If it needs to be a journal entry, we can work with Gloria.
And I meant to email you today and I just never sent the email, so I'm sorry. Okay, thanks.
I'll get you the answer. Thank you. Anybody else? Been noticed? I need a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Augie, please.
Trustees Rawlings. Yeah. Guys, Reed,
Yeah.
Young,
Yes.
Lucas.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes, and thank you. Please hand this down to our friend, Mr. Pusco. All right. Resolution authorizing fiscal year 2023-24 fees and charge schedules. Jerry, you want to just talk about this for a minute?
Mayor, there's many fees and charges on this schedule. Most of them, 95% stay the same. About 5% change for whatever reason. We did have a full extensive review in the building department regarding their fees. I didn't. Dan and Augie and Carolina worked very hard, along with Laura, to make sure that those fees are on par with other communities. And then there's just some additional fees here for certain items that were fine tuned. For instance, we added some fees for the Marine Education Center for Kyle group, as well as amended a few fees for the harbor master. But a large portion of them, significant portion of them have stayed the same.
I see we have a fee for circuses per day.
Yep, we're trying to collect on that fee, but we haven't had a circus in a while.
I was told by a neighbor of mine who has since gone on to his great reward that there was a circus that used to come to the village every year, and it would set up where Palmer Court and Palmer Terrace is now. It's before there were buildings there.
Farmer court and farm towns. Oh, yeah.
Yes, there are new ones, yeah.
Well, when was that? Like the thirties?
Yeah, it's like the 30.
Oh,
I mean, he would, God rest his soul, he'd be over 100 now, this gentleman.
Oh,
So
Wow.
so when he was a kid, they had a circus there.
Five BD Cole Brothers or
Yeah,
something.
who knows?
bring it back, Jerry.
I'm trying to
Okay.
bring everything back, Leilani.
And I noticed one fee went down.
Yeah.
That was the off-season storage of private floats in Inner Harbor per linear foot went down from a $5.25 to $5 per linear foot.
Probably easier to calculate. That's probably why.
There are bargains to be had. Okay, any other questions or concerns? I'll make the motion.
Second.
Thank
Augie,
you.
please.
Trustees Rawlings,
Yes.
Guys, Reed,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Lucas, Mayor Murphy.
Aye.
Mayor, if I may, when you have an opportunity, can you circle back to 2A? I just checked with staff, it was not approved at the last meeting for your consideration.
Well, I'm gonna hustle back there and take a look at this. Is this the one that I was told was approved at this meeting?
That's correct.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. The resolution that was attached to that item number from the last meeting was not deleted, and the new resolution was not put on the agenda.
Okay.
That is to pay the NIPA or Power Authority bills that were on the manual abstract. I can send you all the resolution now.
It's okay. Is this the budget transfers from bond principal to bond interest? Is that the one?
No, it's for utility payments.
Where is it?
It wasn't attached to the agenda, but the payments were made through the manual vouchers. Payments have
what-
already been made.
Okay, why don't you send that and I'll do it at the end of the meeting.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now I gotta find out where I was. Resolution authorizing Westchester Joint Waterworks items. This is 4B. There are two items. We talked about these at the last work session 2 weeks ago. They are the Rye Lake turbidity curtain and boom repair replacement. Turbidity curtain is in essence like the Gunda boom we used to have in Harbor Island Park. It keeps large particulate matter from getting into the works and allows the water to be, more clear. And the other is the Weaver Street pump station and PRV upgrades. That's pressure reducing valve. This is something that is used to regulate, obviously, the pressure in that pipe. And Weaver Street pump station is over in Larchmont at the nature center there. That's a chlorination station too. That pumps water from New York City system into the water we use here in our community. So that being said, I need a motion. The first one on the Rye Lake turbidity curtain and boom repair.
So moved.
Second.
Augie, please.
Trustees Rawlings,
Yes.
Guys, Reed,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
And now, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Aye, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. Weaver Street pump station and PRV upgrades. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Augie, please.
Trustees Rawlings.
Yes.
Guys, Reed,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Lucas, Mayor
Yes.
Murphy.
All right, thank you. Item 4C is a resolution authorizing architecture and engineering services for 169 Mount Pleasant Avenue. Mount Pleasant Avenue 169 is this building that we are now in. It is, to say the least, a building that has long outlived its usefulness. And we are going to think about how we were going to move forward with one building for all the village's needs. And this is the first step. Anybody have any questions or concerns? Staff?
No question.
Okay, it was your chance to shine there, pal.
So here we go. 11 years ago, 11 years ago, we did a space needs study. About 5 years ago, we started and embarked on a conceptual design with a different company. In 2021, we were hit with Ida, and we realized that the school was probably not the best location, evacuation center for us. In 2022, we started to find mold in the building that you're in right now. And in fact, I will have to do extensive work in the building department because we found additional issues on two walls just last week, early last week. So we are moving parallel by trying to mitigate the issues and problems that are in that building that you're in right now, as well as creating a new village hall concept, which will include creating a new space around it while the new space is being built. We would continue to work at 123 Mamaroneck Avenue and 169 Mount Pleasant. Once the new space is completed and constructed, we would move in there and sell off 123 Mamaroneck Avenue, since we own those 3 units, and move out of 169 Mount Pleasant into the new 169 Mount Pleasant, and completely, and not just Band-Aid, completely renovate 169 Mount Pleasant, the current building that you're in. Our local architect, who we're very comfortable with, and has worked for us in the professional services capacity in the past, to start to design that process, which is going to take a long time. We do want to make sure that we start this process because we want to show outside agencies, including state agencies, that we are doing something with some of the issues and concerns we have with that building and with some of the departments that are housed in that building. Therefore, this resolution is before you for your consideration.
Thank you, Chair.
All right.
Any questions or concerns?
No, only that if people are interested, it was on like the first, the information was on the first meeting, I think in January, the backup of the agenda, there's the plans and
Yeah.
the schematics, people are interested.
Is it a motion?
Second.
Augie?
Trustees, Rollins,
Yes.
Yazari,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes, and I just want to say that, this is something that really needs to happen in the future. It's going to cost money, of course, and but we can't have a community that's so prominent and that's so affluent that is falling apart. And it's not fair to the people who come and use this building. It's definitely not fair to the people who work in this building to have to work in conditions that are unhealthy. And this building was never built for the purpose it was used for. Like a lot of things in Mamaroneck, we're trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, and it doesn't work out. You really need to build for what you actually need. So I commend the board for being brave enough to take this vote. We already did 4D. Resolution, next is 4E, resolution authorizing street closure for the 2023 Juneteenth celebration. And I believe the street will be closed as Van Ranst, and it will be closed on June 17th, which is my birthday.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
there's one item. I think we should consider closing off the one-way street called Sheldrake Place as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that
Sheldrake
poses
Place,
a lot of issues.
Sheldrake Place runs perpendicular to Van Ranst.
Mhm.
It's only 1 block between Mamaroneck and Van Ranst.
And
Good job, Jerry.
we have 2 prominent members in this room who live over there.
Yeah.
Prominent, you said?
Yeah, they're prominent.
Okay.
Okay.
The village attorney and the deputy mayor.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just see what this is. So that portion of Van Ranst between Jefferson and Mamaroneck Avenue will be closed from 10. So end after Mamaroneck Avenue, end the entirety of Sheldrake Place.
Mm-hmm.
That work for everybody?
Yep.
Yeah, that would be much better.
Okay, I will make that motion as I amended it. Augustino, please.
Trustees, Rawlings,
Yes.
Guys, Reed,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
The next up is 4F. Developing a process to be included as an interested agency for upstream development impacting the Mamaroneck River watershed. As so many people in this community have know and has frequently been pointed out, we're at the bottom of the watershed for a lot of Westchester County. So when White Plains does development, when Harrison does development, when Scarsdale does development, when Town of Mamaroneck does development, and they eat up more impervious surface, the water has to go somewhere, and where it usually goes is Washingtonville. And this community has been plagued long enough. So what we're asking for is to have a voice in all of these upstream developments. You know, we're not an involved agency. We don't have a permitting authority, but we are definitely an interested agency. So we're going to have this resolution, and we are going to send it out to our neighbors and ask them to include us in any discussion of development that's going to impact this community. So hopefully, you know, they will care that, you know, their development is hurting people downstream, people that are their neighbors, and act accordingly. You know, in a perfect world, Westchester County would control storm water discharge in all these communities. And those that put water in should pay those who have to then suffer the consequences of putting the water in. But we're not there yet, but hopefully we'll be there someday. So I need a motion for this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Fusco.
Trustees, Rawlings,
Yes.
Guys, Reed,
Yeah.
Young,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Aye. All right, we're accepting a gift from Southeastern Guide Dogs. The Village of Mamaroneck has had a police dog. I think we've had 2 police dogs already. They were German Shepherds. And when the police officer who was trained in that with that dog, they form a bond. So our officer who was trained with that dog is retiring. And the dog stays, you know, it's a family dog. At night, the dog stays at his house and, you know, is acquainted with his family and is a family member like any good pet. So you know, the dog is staying with him when he retires. So we're accepting a gift of a new dog, but it's going to be a kind of different kind of dog. This is more of can I have that? This is more of a comfort dog for situations where, you know, maybe there's, God forbid, domestic violence in the house, and there's children there, and they're upset. So we are getting Ike. Ike, to all appearances, seems to be a lovely golden retriever. Ike is a female, unlike our president, Mr. Eisenhower. But she's a beautiful dog, and she'll be trained with one of our officers. And I think that this is a better way to go than the traditional police dog setup. So the police chief went out of her way to find a different paradigm for our canine, and I'm very happy about it. So if you see Ike in the community, and she's a pretty girl, isn't she? If you see Ike in the community, remember she's a working dog. And you know, she has a task to do, and she has a trainer and a a companion that's her partner. But we welcome Ike to the Village of Mamaroneck Police Department.
Welcome, Ike.
So that being said, I would love to make this motion.
Second.
And the cost that we are accepting as a donation, the cost is between $7,500 and $10,000.
Wow.
Please call the roll, Lord.
Trustees, Rawlings,
Yes.
Guys, Reed,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Aye. Hold on one second here. Resolution authorizing payment and training for overnight lodging for Lieutenant Trujillo. The lieutenant is going to get some training and it's out of the area. So we always pay for the overnight stay and for the training. So we commend Lieutenant Trujillo for reaching out and to trying to better the department that he serves as the chief of detectives. And the cost of this is $1,620, which includes the conference, registration, training, lodging, traveling, and meals. So it's a bargain. I will make that motion.
Second.
Augustino, please.
Trustees Rawlings,
Yes.
Guys, Reed,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
trustee Lucas.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Aye. The next up is accepting a donation, which is item 4I, resolution accepting bench donation at Rockland Pocket Preserve. And the donation is from the Korth and DeHaze families. Mr. Hayes was here before. She spoke about the Rockland Avenue traffic situation. Mr. Hayes was the impetus behind forming the Rockland Park. And she put a lot of sweat equity, and she got a lot of people to volunteer to keep the cost down for the village. And it's very kind of her and her husband to donate $2,329.80 for a bench. And it'll be honoring a loved one of theirs. And I want to thank her very much, not only for her donation, but for her constant vigilance in trying to improve the environment in the village of Mamaroneck. And I know she has another plan ahead of her. And we wish her and the environmental committee the best of luck in doing it. We really benefit from that community. You have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Trustees Rawlings,
Yes.
Guys, Reed,
Yes.
Young.
Yeah.
Lucas,
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Ceiling here.
Aye. Hey, Jerry,
Yes.
Lou and I have both noticed an occurrence while we're sitting here. A few termites have fallen out of the ceiling and one is flying around up here.
You know, at least three or four of them have come down while
Yeah.
we've been.
Me and Augie have gotten a couple.
Yeah, so my first reaction is, because I'm not there, I don't believe you, but
It's I'll save it for you, put it on your desk.
okay. All right.
Okay.
So I will get
I will
our
get
our
Could be a flying ant.
No,
Yeah.
because Sally, I think, saw something earlier and I didn't pay attention. but
Whatever it is, it shouldn't
Let's
be
go.
here and it shouldn't be flying around.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm ready.
I don't know the difference between a flying ant and a termite on site, but it's disturbing.
Mm,
Okay. As if to prove the point.
I know, boy.
Building, yeah. Oh, man, next thing you know, a beaver is gonna fall out.
oh my God, if that happened, I really would freak out.
All right. Okay, Sally, I was supposed to add an item to the agenda,
2A.
Yes, 2A.
2A, and
We have it in our email. We can put it up on the screen.
okay, I have it here. I just got it
Okay.
here. I'll just, a resolution authorizing to execute budget transfers. Well, first off, I need a motion to add an item to the agenda.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor of adding an item to the agenda?
Aye.
Aye, thank you all very much. And the item is a resolution to execute budget transfers to fund overdue budget accounts. And this is taking money from the contingent account, $65,200, and putting it public safety electric, administrative offices electric, central garage electric, fire department heating, off-street parking electric, parks utilities heating, and another one for parks utilities heating. So that comes to $65,200. I will make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? No, I'm sorry, call the roll.
Trustees Rawlings.
Yes.
Guys, Reed,
yeah,
Young,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Mayor Murphy.
Aye, I just want to explain, sometimes I tell Augie to call the roll and sometimes I say all in favor. Usually when it's about money, I have Augie call the roll. Communication to the board round 2.
Oh my God, that's good.
Update from village manager.
Mayor, I'm having a hard time with my cough tonight, so I'm going to skip my update. But I do have 2 items for the record. One of them is the intermunicipal agreement for the enhanced 911 service, and the other is the countywide bus shelter agreement that we have.
You know, I just want to, about the bus shelter agreement. A while back, I sent potential sites for new bus shelters.
Oh,
I'll try and find where, when I sent them. Because I see too many people waiting out in the rain for buses.
I think it's a flying ant, not a mosquito.
I remember something. I think we lost track of that, or
Yes. But
we definitely lost track.
I'd like to reinvent it because A, we get revenue,
Yeah,
and B, you know, our residents don't have to wait in the rain.
Okay.
I'll resend it, or I'll take the survey again.
okay, thanks.
Thank you. Report from
Can
my
I say
friend, the clerk
something?
treasurer.
Wait, can I add
Oh,
something?
sure.
I think it's a flying ant. Leilani caught. Leilani caught one.
Let's just wrap up the meeting.
Okay.
I sent Jerry pictures of.
Good job.
Either way, you know,
Either way, let's go.
report from the clerk treasurer.
Residential hang tags due to expire on April 23rd, 2023,
April 1st, it says.
April 1st, 2023. Correct.
Thank you all. Report from the village attorney.
Local law number 4 was filed with the Secretary of State. March 22nd. That's the law having to do with costs and fees.
Thank you very much. Minutes, commissions, boards and committees, minutes of the Board of Trustees regular meeting of March 13th, 2023, and work sessions of regular meeting of March 27th, 2023. Minutes of the Board of Architecture Review meeting of March 7th, 2023. Minutes of the Planning Board meeting of March 8th, 2023. Minutes of the Board of Ethics meeting of February 15th, 2023. Minutes of the Budget Committee meeting of January 3rd, March 7th, 2023. Minutes of the Flood Mitigation Advisory Committee meeting of February 28th, 2023. Minutes of the Harbor Coastal Zone Management meeting of February 15th, 2023. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moves. Thank God, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. See, the last time we were here at midnight, now we're at 8:30. It's not bad.
Well,
Good night.
little ants. Ain't nobody, I don't like insects regardless, so regardless of what's in here.
So we have a,
Well, I gotta.
wait a minute, it's gonna fall on your head.
Take a seat.
I'll send you a picture of it.